Our world now begins with a digital chime, a buzz on the nightstand, not birdsong. Before we're even awake, our fingers swipe and tap, swept into a flood of notifications. The quiet of dawn is gone, replaced by a network that never sleeps. In every room, screens glow and speakers talk, filling silence with data and demands. Even outside, the cities roar and our headphones drown out any hope of quiet. Silence is rare, a commodity we must hunt for. We move through our days half distracted, our focus splintered by endless pings. Family dinners and conversations are interrupted by screens. Waiting in line means scrolling, not daydreaming. We've forgotten how to simply be present. Constant noise is now the soundtrack of our lives. The hum of modern life is our new normal, a companion we barely notice. Remember when silence was easy? A quiet afternoon, a still library, a mind free to wander. Now, true quiet must be scheduled, sought out like a rare luxury. The absence of noise feels unsettling. We fear being disconnected, alone with our thoughts. Our focus and creativity suffer, our relationships thin, as we offer only fragments of attention. The silence we've lost was once the soil for reflection and connection. We're more connected, yet more anxious and isolated than ever. The constant noise drowns out our own signals: stress, fatigue, emotion. The horizon of quiet has vanished, and with it, a vital part of being human. Once waiting in line or for a bus meant quiet observation or daydreaming. Now every spare moment is filled, out comes the phone in rushes distraction. Downtime is colonized by endless scrolling, podcasts and games. We've trained ourselves to fear boredom, to crave constant input. Our minds never rest, always processing, never pausing. Without these mental breaks, our attention fragments, our creativity dims. We're more fatigued, less able to focus deeply. The quiet work of self-discovery is lost to the shallow satisfaction of one more scroll. We've traded insight for distraction, depth for noise. Family dinners once meant undivided attention, conversation, and connection. Now, screens buzz at the table, earbuds sneak in, and attention is split. We're present in body, absent in mind. Digital distractions build invisible walls. This erosion extends everywhere: friends in cafes, parents at parks, colleagues in meetings. We've mastered being together but alone, missing the subtle cues that deepen relationships. True empathy requires full attention, but we offer only fragments. Our conversations stay shallow, our bonds weaken. The message is clear: the digital world trumps the real one in front of us. We're together, yet isolated, each lost in our own stream of information. The quiet space for genuine connection is squeezed out by our inability to disconnect. A new anxiety defines our age: the fear of being alone with our thoughts. Solitude was once prized for reflection and wisdom. Now, it's a problem to solve. The moment we're alone, we reach for devices, desperate to fill the silence. We avoid confronting our feelings, using digital noise as an anesthetic. Technology feeds this fear, making us feel we're missing out if we disconnect. We've lost the skill of sitting quietly, of being comfortable in our own company. The result? A growing disconnect from our inner lives, our intuition drowned out. We become reactive, not reflective, guided by algorithms instead of our own compass. This fear of silence is really a fear of meeting ourselves in the quiet. Let's look at the hard facts. The story of our lost quiet is written in data. Consider the screen in your pocket. The average person now spends hours each day connected to their devices. Infographics show this time climbing year after year. We touch, tap, and swipe our phones thousands of times daily. It's about a total immersion in a digital ecosystem. When we visualize this data, it's a portrait of our modern day. Imagine a pie chart of a typical 24-hour period. The slice dedicated to sleep is shrinking. The slice representing screen time is enormous, consuming the hours once filled with hobbies, quiet reflection, or simply doing nothing at all. Our attention has become the most valuable commodity, and we're giving it away freely. Studies show a direct correlation between high levels of device usage and increased rates of anxiety and stress. Ultimately, the most telling statistic is the decrease in time spent in genuine silence. The noise is physical, a rising tide in our daily lives. Decades of measurements show increasing decibel levels from traffic, construction, and background music. This is more than an annoyance, it's an environmental stressor with health implications. Constant noise seeps into our homes, workplaces, and schools, affecting cognitive performance. Studies show students near busy areas struggle with reading and memory. Open offices create distractions, making focused work difficult. The psychological toll is significant, linked to stress hormones and cardiovascular issues. It disrupts sleep and creates agitation. Data reveals a louder world, prioritizing commerce over tranquility. This rising noise is our collective failure to value silence, a problem we created and pay the price for. The most profound consequence revealed by the data is not just the loss of silence itself, but the loss of what silence provides, a space for the self. This is the inner landscape of our minds, the place where we reflect, process emotions, and form a coherent sense of who we are. For this inner world to thrive, it requires periods of quiet, free from external demands and stimulation. It is in these moments of solitude that we can hear our own thoughts, untangle our feelings, and connect with our deepest values. This is not an idle luxury, it is a fundamental human need, as essential as food or sleep for our psychological health and personal growth. The data on our device usage and the noise in our environment points to a stark reality. This essential space is shrinking dramatically. Every minute we spend scrolling through a feed is a minute not spent in quiet reflection. Every moment the world's noise intrudes on our consciousness is a moment where our inner voice is drowned out. Imagine your inner world as a room. It used to be a spacious, quiet place where you could walk around, examine your thoughts, and get to know yourself. Now that room is crowded with constant visitors, notifications, news alerts, podcasts, and advertisements, all shouting for your attention, leaving no space for you. This lack of inner space has a direct impact on our creativity and problem-solving abilities. Groundbreaking ideas and creative insights rarely emerge from a mind that is constantly processing new information. They arise from a state of mental rest, when the subconscious mind is free to make novel connections. This is the eureka moment that happens in the shower or on a long walk, times when we are typically alone and unoccupied. By filling every spare moment with digital distractions, we are systematically preventing these moments of insight from occurring. We are becoming excellent consumers of content, but poor creators of original thought. Ultimately, the shrinking space for the self leads to a weaker sense of identity. When we are not spending time alone with our thoughts, we begin to source our beliefs, opinions, and even our sense of worth from external sources. We look to social media to tell us what to think, what to value, and who to be. Our identity becomes a reflection of the trends and algorithms that feed us, rather than something cultivated from deep within. The data shows us a world where we are more connected than ever, yet more disconnected from ourselves. Reclaiming silence is not just about finding peace and quiet, it's about reclaiming the very space we need to be fully, authentically human. From a neurological standpoint, our brains are living in a state of constant, low-level alarm. Neurologists explain that our brains evolved in environments where loud noises or constant information streams were rare. The prefrontal cortex requires quiet to function effectively, but is now bombarded with notifications, leading to overwhelm. Experts point to dopamine. Notifications provide fleeting hits, creating addictive feedback loops engineered by tech companies. This constant stimulation disrupts deep focus needed for learning and problem solving, impacting memory consolidation. Neurologists are concerned about long-term effects on brain plasticity, reinforcing distraction and weakening sustained attention. The silence we've lost was the training ground for our minds. Psychologists highlight the link between silence and stress management. Our bodies use the sympathetic nervous system for fight or flight, releasing hormones like cortisol and adrenaline. A healthy cycle involves the parasympathetic nervous system, which calms the body. Constant noise keeps our sympathetic nervous system activated, preventing relaxation. Experts say silence is a powerful antidote. Quiet signals safety, allowing the parasympathetic system to lower heart rate and reduce cortisol. Intentional silence reverses the effects of noise, restoring calm. The loss of silence has robbed us of a natural stress management tool. We turn to external stimulation, perpetuating the cycle. Experts say reclaiming silence is essential. It regulates our nervous system and restores inner peace. Creativity experts and neurologists agree that the wellspring of original thought is often found in unstructured, quiet moments. This is the realm of daydreaming, where the mind is allowed to wander freely without a specific goal. During these periods of unfocus, our brains activate a network known as the default mode network, or DMN. This network is responsible for connecting disparate ideas, retrieving distant memories, and imagining future possibilities. It is really the engine of our creativity. When we are walking in nature, taking a long shower, or simply staring out a window, our DMN is hard at work, making the novel connections that lead to those aha moments and creative breakthroughs. It's the quiet space where inspiration is truly born. But the modern world, with its endless supply of on-demand distraction, is fundamentally hostile to this creative process. Every moment that could be spent daydreaming is now filled with a podcast, a playlist, or a social media feed. We have, in effect, silenced the default mode network. Instead of allowing our minds to wander internally, we force them to follow the paths laid out by external content. We are consuming the creative output of others at such a high rate that we leave no mental space for our own creative thoughts to emerge. The silence that once nurtured our imagination has been replaced by a constant stream of information that keeps our minds occupied but, well, creatively stagnant. This has tangible consequences in both our personal and professional lives. In the workplace, the pressure to be constantly available and responsive, answering emails and messages instantly, discourages the kind of deep, reflective thinking that leads to true innovation. The most valuable employees are often not the ones who respond the fastest, but the ones who can step back, think deeply, and come up with a novel solution. Yet, our work culture increasingly rewards constant connectivity over contemplative silence. We are optimizing for busyness, not for breakthrough thinking, and our collective creativity is suffering as a result. The loss of this mental space also impacts our personal development. Daydreaming is not just about coming up with big ideas, it's also how we construct our personal narratives and make sense of our lives. It's where we imagine different futures for ourselves, replay conversations, and reflect on our values. This quiet internal work is crucial for self-discovery and personal growth. By eliminating the idle moments where this can happen, we risk living more superficial lives, guided by external pressures rather than a strong, internally developed sense of self. The death of daydreaming is not just a loss of creativity, it's a loss of the quiet time we need to become who we are meant to be. Our emotional health depends on our ability to recognize, process, and understand our own feelings. Psychologists explain that this is a subtle and often quiet process. Emotions are not loud alarms, they are often quiet whispers, subtle shifts in our internal state that require a calm mind to be noticed. Feelings like sadness, disappointment, or even gentle joy can be honestly easily drowned out by the constant noise of modern life. When we are perpetually distracted by screens and sounds, we become numb to our own emotional landscape. We might feel a general sense of being off or unsettled, but we're just too busy to pause and ask ourselves what we are truly feeling and why. This constant stimulation becomes a form of emotional avoidance. It's often easier to pick up a phone and scroll through a feed than it is to sit with an uncomfortable feeling like loneliness, grief, or boredom. Our devices offer an immediate and highly effective escape from our inner world. Over time, this becomes a habitual response. Whenever a difficult emotion begins to surface, our conditioned reflex is to reach for a distraction. This prevents us from ever fully processing these emotions. Unprocessed feelings do not simply disappear, they linger beneath the surface, contributing to chronic anxiety, depression, and a general sense of being disconnected from ourselves. Experts in emotional intelligence argue that this avoidance stunts our emotional growth. Learning to tolerate and understand difficult feelings is a crucial life skill. It's how we build resilience, empathy, and self-awareness. By constantly short-circuiting this process with distraction, we rob ourselves of the opportunity to learn from our emotional experiences. We become less capable of managing our own feelings and consequently, less able to understand and empathize with the feelings of others. Our relationships suffer because we lack the emotional depth that comes from doing the quiet internal work of self-reflection. The noise of the modern world creates an emotional echo chamber. We consume content that reinforces our existing moods or offers a superficial escape, but we rarely engage in the quiet contemplation needed to achieve true emotional clarity. We become reactive instead of responsive, tossed about by feelings we don't understand because we've never given ourselves the silence to listen to them. Reclaiming quiet is therefore an essential act of emotional hygiene. It's about creating the necessary space to tune into our inner selves, to listen to the subtle whispers of our heart, and to build a healthier, more honest relationship with our own emotional life. Amidst the noise of modern life, a quiet counter-revolution is taking place. People are discovering the power of stillness, turning inward to find peace. We see this in the simple act of meditation. This practice is a rebellion against constant distraction, creating a sanctuary of silence. This search extends into shared experiences of quiet, like silent retreats. In this shared stillness, the mind begins to settle. We see quiet rooms in airports, libraries, and offices. Silence is not an absence, but a presence of calm vital for our well-being. It's about finding balance, recognizing that our minds need silence. The most powerful response to a world of noise is the courageous act of being still. There is an ancient antidote to the digital world, the natural world. When the noise becomes too much, we feel a pull towards green spaces. People are leaving the city for the solace of a forest or the calm of a lake. In these places, the sounds are the rustle of leaves, the chirping of birds, the lapping of water. This natural soundscape soothes rather than stimulates. Encounters with nature offer a unique disconnection. Studies show that spending time in nature reduces stress, lowers blood pressure, and boosts immunity. Nature is a silent therapist that provides the restorative quiet our minds crave. People are rediscovering this truth, trading screen time for green time. A connection with nature is essential for our mental and emotional health. Reconnect with a peace that is both timeless and deeply healing. Reclaiming our agency starts with the simple decision to unplug. It begins with setting boundaries, like turning off your phone for an hour each evening. Families can implement a no devices at the dinner table rule. Unplugging often begins with a digital declutter, deleting apps, unsubscribing from emails, and curating social media. Rediscovering analog activities opens space for other things, like reading a physical book. Ultimately, unplugging reclaims our presence, allowing us to be fully where we are with the people we are with. It leads to a richer, more engaged, and more peaceful existence. The revolution against noise is now entering our homes. People are redesigning their living environments to protect their peace. This is digital minimalism brought to life through interior design, creating designated tech-free zones. Imagine a living room arranged to encourage conversation, a sanctuary from the digital storm. This movement extends to bedrooms, reclaiming them as places for rest. Banish all screens. Instead of a phone, an old-fashioned alarm clock sits on the nightstand. Beyond specific rooms, families are designating a central charging station. This fosters a shared commitment to digital well-being. This isn't about rejecting technology, it is about controlling it. We are moving towards the idea of the wise home, a home that provides refuge and fosters connection. The demand for silence is moving into our shared public spaces. A quiet revolution is reshaping our workplaces and schools. Some companies are implementing no email hours and creating quiet rooms. Schools are experimenting with mindfulness programs and phone-free policies. We are seeing the rise of silent cafes offering a refuge from the noise. This signals a broader cultural shift. Silence is a public good. Creating quiet spaces is an investment in our collective well-being. We must intentionally carve out sanctuaries of silence. The revolution is quiet, but its impact is profound. We've explored the noise of our world, from devices to urban sound, and its toll on our well-being. But there's hope. Many are pushing back, finding peace in meditation, nature, and unplugging. They are redesigning spaces to honor silence. It's about balance, not abandonment. Silence is a fertile ground for thought and connection. Reclaiming it starts with a choice. Put down the phone, listen to the wind, or simply sit in quiet. Choose silence to reconnect with clarity. The quiet is waiting. Find yourself in the stillness. Reclaim your silence, reclaim your life.